Kettlebell dead clean. So the kettlebell dead clean is all about shifting this weight from a dead position in a vertical line into what we call our rack position. So set up, feet are hip distance apart, roughly parallel with a slight turn out in your toes. You're going to have your weight on your heels, on your big toes and little toes. You need that foot connection to start. Then, with the kettlebell horizontal to you, you're going to grasp just the corner edge of the handle closest to you. You want that because of the movement of the kettlebell and how it's going to roll over your wrist. From here, take the slack out of the arm. So my back is in neutral, my core is on, my shoulders are nice and connected, I'm not elevated through my shoulder, and simply I'm going to stand up. As I stand up in this quick position, I'm going to take a little shrug here. And you can see from the momentum that that movement carries, I can clean that weight up to my shoulder into this rack position. Now the movement of my hand is all about, as I come up and clean, is about getting this elbow underneath my wrist as quickly as I can there. And I'm going to point my fingers up. This is simply to avoid or ensure we have a really efficient movement of that kettlebell. If I am slow, what I will end up doing is essentially bicep curling through and then flipping the kettlebell over onto my wrist. Now, whilst the weight is light, we can tolerate that flipping over and clipping the wrist. However, as we increase the load, that can lead to injury, and we want to avoid that. So we want that really swift and efficient movement through the kettlebell, through the arm. So again, this vertical position, and then we just simply point the fingers up towards the ceiling. So from the side on, you can see I'm going to move that elbow fast. I'm going to point my fingers up, and I'm here with a straight wrist. So if I take that kettlebell away, my wrist is perfectly straight. Fingers are pointing up rather than flexed or hyperextended. Absolutely straight so we can carry that weight. Things to avoid. When we are in our starting and setup position, we want to avoid a bent or slack arm. We also want to avoid rounding through our spine in the start. We need to be in neutral. Similarly, when we are in our rack position, we want to avoid the elbow popping out to the side too high or too far out this way here. So we're kind of carrying it on the shoulder rather than sitting and resting it on the shoulder, top of chest. We also want to avoid extending into our lumbar spines, and I need to deload that. If we extend into our lumbar spines, we're compressing through the lower back. We're distending through the anterior chain, but rather we need to be in this position here, lock the core down, extend through the glutes to the hips so the glutes are working, and we have a much more stable position here. So absolutely no extension through the lumbar spine, which means we have to pull the core in nice and strong. Similarly, as you just saw there, as I lower the weight back down, I'm going to avoid just rounding my back and dropping the weight to the floor. I'm going to lower it down by chambering it down through me and sitting back down into a neutral position through my spine. So that is the single arm dead clean.